Tanks and planes are alright, but you know what's really cool? Aliens. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 sci-fi strategy games.
Civilians entering the city are getting blocked by hostile forces. We need to clear that area. Can you assist?
While many people consider science fiction and action to be a match made in heaven, we feel that a game only truly becomes special when we put our minds to work.
Enemy units destroyed.
For this list, we're focusing on those titles that in their gameplay require quick thinking, deft reflexes, and above all else, a heavy use of strategy. Number 10, Warhammer 40k, Dawn of War.
By my command.
The classic tabletop franchise comes to life thanks to Relic Entertainment's sci-fi epic. Controlling your squads of Space Marines through the orc camps is as visually impressive as it is satisfying, requiring a quick mind and strategic thinking. While only 4 of the universe's factions are playable in the first iteration of the series, the gameplay remains varied and interesting throughout, never feeling limited as you might have thought. Base building tends to take a backseat to the combat through the game's relatively simple single-player campaign, but after seeing how satisfying gunning down the enemy with your squads can be, you probably wouldn't have it any other way. Number 9, Star Wars Empire at War.
Warm up. We're on our way.
Anyone who's ever wished themselves a part of science fiction's most celebrated franchise would do well to take a hard look at this entry. Set during the Galactic Civil War, with gameplay focused on large, epic space battles, it's easy to see why this 10-year-old classic has continued to stay relevant in modern gaming.
Bring the Death Star in range of the planet and show this pitiful insurgency the true power of this fully functional battle station.
Planning out attacks on different planets through the galaxy and executing them with proper tactics and a string of well-timed reinforcements feels as epic as any of the battles from the movies, and impresses us every time we come back to this gem. Though it's as good as the franchise that inspired it, this is one game that can still get by on its own merit. Number 8, Sins of a Solar Empire.
Planet development finished.
While perhaps underrated when going up against the established titans of the genre, we feel that this hybrid is well deserving of a spot on this list. When it comes to sci-fi, a sense of scale is crucially important, and Sins of a Solar Empire has that in spades. With the ability to zoom in and out at will, inspecting anything from a small segment of a battle to the vast reaches of your empire truly immerses you in the universe that you're creating. Taking the best parts of the RTS and 4X genres and throwing them together into an engaging end product. This is one game that definitely punches above its weight class.
Where do you need me?
Number 7, Total Annihilation. While Supreme Commander is a great game in its own right, we feel that its predecessor is a little more deserving of a spot on this list. Featuring massive battles that take place throughout the entirety of the map, and all the resources you could ever need to support it, this entry gives you the keys to the general's quarters and lets you go nuts. Disappointed at first by the simplistic resource management, once the battles kicked in and got more hectic, players quickly grew thankful that they had one less thing to worry about. With gameplay focusing on the big picture instead of small menial tasks, it's strategy, not hand speed, that will get you through these missions. Number 6, XCOM 2.
Approaching position. You were right.
XCOM UFO Defense set the standard for a long-running alien invasion series, but over a decade later, XCOM 2 puts everything together into what we feel is the best entry of them all. Expanding on the hit 2012 reboot of the original, this sequel provides improvements pretty much everywhere. There are more mission types, more weapons, more interactions on the battlefield, a faster pace of play, and of course, infinitely more frustration when your best soldier gets taken down by a lucky critical hit. Keeping the core elements of the series intact and cranking everything else up to 11, this is one game that continues to take entire weekends away from our lives.
It won't be easy, but you're used to that.
Number 5, Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri. Civilization Beyond Earth got a lot of praise for taking the classic formula into a bold new direction, but this cult classic, by the same company, did it all 16 years earlier. Right from the get-go, we were thrust into a world where exploration, discovery, and strategy would be the only pathways to victory.
indigenous life forms.
The eerie setting of a planet cloaked in shadows does a great job of setting up the story, and had us wary of running into progenitors at every turn. While the gameplay elements aren't quite as refined as we've come to expect from its sister series, they remain complex, engaging, and worth a look to anyone who hasn't experienced it.
After the ship breaks apart, the 7 leaders guide their chosen crew down to the surface of planet, seeking their destiny beneath an alien sky.
Number 4, Homeworld.
Interceptor complete.
Drawing heavy fire.
Heavy corvette complete.
Requiring the honing of different skills in order to conquer the game, this entry has plenty to offer for anyone looking to flex their mental muscles. Taking place entirely in 3D, which was a big deal in 1999, navigation and combat are some of the most engaging we've ever seen in a strategy game. Whether it's individually harvesting minerals from a nearby asteroid or executing attack on a large fleet, we always felt that success or failure rested entirely on our shoulders, and not on spotty AI decisions.
The cryo trays are under attack. Defend them.
Adding strategic depth to a potentially sparse setting by including environmental factors that can play havoc with ship movement, this entry infused a breath of fresh air to a genre that, at times, can be guilty of a lack of innovation.
Cryo trays loaded and secure. Hyperspace module charged.
Number 3, Command & Conquer Red Alert 2.
Reinforcements have arrived. Unit lost.
On my way.
While Command & Conquer Red Alert may be the better game, we feel that the follow-up has much stronger sci-fi elements, and that earned it the top 3 spot on our list.
Shake it, baby!
Whether it's the Chrono Legionnaires, the Psi Commandos, or Cosmonauts, the available arsenals to both sides of the conflict are extremely diverse here, and very high-tech even by today's standards, let alone for a game set in 1972.
Destination, Commander?
Unit
High speed,
lost.
low drag.
By the way, it's set in an alternate timeline where the Cold War escalated and heated up significantly, so both the Soviet and American campaigns provide everything we'd expect from our science fiction, including some deliberately hammy voice acting.
General Vladimir is a non-person. He is now considered refused to be collected.
Number 2, Dune 2.
Reporting.
The archetypal real-time strategy game, this forefather of the genre laid the foundations for almost every example that followed.
Reporting. Report affirmative.
Harkonnen harvester deployed.
Based upon the film adaptation of the book, Dune 2 gives you control over one of the 3 houses in your quest to control Arrakis, also known as Dune. The foundations may not be as polished as we've come to experience in the decades that followed, but for their first ever implementation in a video game, we would have expected far worse.
Harkonnen units deployed.
While purists might not like the inclusion of non-canon lore to the game's story, after all there's supposed to only be 2 houses, without this time-tested gem, this list might just not have even existed at all.
Acknowledge. Report affirmative. Yes, sir. Moving in. Yes, sir. Moving in.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions. Number 1, StarCraft. StarCraft 2 may have brought the lore to a whole new generation of gamers and sparked a heightened interest in esports in the West, but none of it would have been possible without the first entry in the series, immersing us in a bleak universe populated by 3 unique, memorable races. Blizzard's smash hit is one of those legendary games that we just keep coming back to.
Looks like the ground there is alive.
Meticulously balanced to make each race feel different, challenging, and above all fun to play, the gameplay has endured as some of the most rewarding in the history of the genre, if not in gaming in general. Requiring a very quick mind and even quicker hands, this titan of sci-fi is deserving of its place atop our list. So, do you agree with our choices? Do you have any other favorite sci-fi strategy games?
One hell of a ship you got here, Jimmy.
For more fun top 10s published every day, be sure to subscribe to WatchMojo.com.